Hi, my name is Cold Beer. Let's start with Tunguska, the Visitation. No, please, no!
Tunguska the Visitation, Enhanced Edition. As I always say, this is a severely underrated game. In this survival adventure RPG, you will dive into the zone teeming with anomalies and terrifying mutants. If you like games like Atom RPG, Fallout or Stalker, this is without a doubt your spoon of potato salad. And recently it got an absolutely free graphics update, so for this price you will get the best version of the game that ever existed. Here you will uncover the darkest secrets of Tunguska from the Soviet era and venture across dangerous locations, grim villages, creepy forests and abandoned facilities to unravel the secrets of mysterious Tunguska event in 1908. Yeah, the game has its roots in famous roadside picnic story, but unfolds everything in an original and exciting way. Tunguska the Visitation blends two seemingly unblendable genres together, twin-stick shooter with deep narrative RPG and impressive story-rich gameplay. People who already found this gem are really happy with the purchase. It has above 1,000 reviews on Steam and only 2% separates the game from overwhelmingly positive review score. And I'm sure the game will achieve it sooner or later. It is made by a solo American developer, a very talented dude, who also listens to what the community says and updates the game all the time. He also plans to release the game on Xbox this spring, so the work never ends. The game itself offers more than 50 types of weapons, dozens of ammo types and various other stuff. You can even have your own house, buy furniture and grow mushrooms in the cellar. Also, from my own experience, I can assure you that here you will find hundreds of different items and your inner looter will be satisfied. Also, along with the game, I want to recommend a Slaughterhouse DLC, which provides a mode with endless waves of monsters and zombies, and you can test your might by staying alive as long as you can. Also, you can unlock various cool items for the base game as well. So anyway, you have all my recommendations. Blacktail. Here the choice is yours. Will you become the guardian of the woods or the terror nightmares are made of? You play as Yaga, a 16-year-old girl accused of witchcraft and expelled from a medieval settlement. Well, I know what I would be doing after that. Definitely not helping poor folk from the aforementioned village to heal their sick cattle. No, I would rather secretly put pineapple in their potato salad. Also, would turn all their delicious beer into milk.
Milk of a cat.
Yeah, milk of a cat or of a hamster. Anyway, he will decide the fate of the land and its inhabitants, and witness the impact of your decisions on your skills through an implemented morality system. People on Steam are saying that the game feels more mature than the visuals it provides, and the story is really dark and captivating. Gears Tactics. The game easily stands in one line with XCOM titles in a sense of quality and provided entertainment. Great graphics, cinematics and really interesting encounters had me pinned on my chair for hours and hours. Usually when I install turn-based games I get bored really quickly, either because the game seems too simple, too boring or just too hard. But for me, Gears Tactics is in the perfect Goldilocks zone in terms of difficulty and fun, and it kept my interest alive for hours. I can assure you that the quality of this game is as high as possible, but I have to stress out that I am a casual player. I don't like very difficult games, so if you are a true professional of turn-based titles, it may not be for you. But on the other hand, I could even recommend this game for people who have never played any turn-based games. Gears Tactics may become a gateway drug for you. You know, like potato salad can become a gateway to the world of other salads. Oh yeah, I know a lot of recipes. We'll definitely share them on my Adventures channel one day. Anyway, for me this game rocks and rolls and is great in general, like the best Dr. Sausage in the juiciest potato salad. Returnal. This is an incredibly beautiful action roguelite bullet hell. Here, after crash landing on a weird shape-shifting world, you must search through the barren landscape of an ancient civilization for your escape. All alone you find yourself fighting for survival until death. Yours of course, again and again. When you are defeated, you are forced to restart this journey every time you die. The fun thing is that you'll discover that just as the planet changes with every cycle, so do the items at your disposal. Every loop offers new combinations, empowering you to push your boundaries and approach combat with a different strategy each time. In other words, this is roguelike, but it's not boring at all. Game is still very expensive, but if you want something brainless and beautiful, you know, look at the mirror. Anyway, jokes aside, this is truly beautiful brainless bullet hell, although system requirements are quite high, so be sure you have them above minimum. Dreamscaper. This is a beautiful action roguelite game. At first the gameplay is very easy. At least it was when I played the game. I felt no bigger challenge and all the creatures died from my mighty swings without any problems. I was like, hey, I'm really good at this game. The challenge began when I finally met the first boss, and the fight was great, like 10 out of 10 great, and also it was the strongest aspect of this game. But I was kinda surprised that the more I played, the more Souls-like the game got. Easy peasy beginning was a trap. Actually, Dreamscaper is very unforgiving and difficult. I wouldn't mind, but most of the weapons here are slow, you know, like your sister. I felt like I was swinging them through the water or something, and you have to make perfectly timed attacks for critical hits. That is a hard thing to do with slowpoke weapons, but if this isn't a problem for you, then it may be the game for you. It has great art design, visuals, puzzles, and the gameplay is really fun. The Shore. I have played this game while it was still in development, and I was really impressed by the grand scale of some creatures and entities that roam this Lovecraftian world. And by saying Lovecraftian, I really mean it. You will literally encounter Cthulhu himself. So basically The Shore is a game about the mystery of the unknown set on a forbidden island filled with horrors. You will take control of Andrew, a father searching for his lost daughter, and while doing the searching part you will awaken a cosmic horror or two. Or, you know, 4 or 7, this game is filled with them. Although keep in mind that it is not flawless. It has some bugs, some invisible walls and terrible combat. Although fighting is not the main aspect of The Shore, that's for sure. Anyway, for this price I can really recommend this game if you like dark stories, Lovecraftian worlds, your mother-in-law and creepy vibes in general. Also it has photorealistic graphics and looks amazing. High on Life. Here you and a team of charismatic talking guns must answer the hero's call. You will become the deadliest intergalactic bounty hunter the cosmos have ever seen. Game may look like it's oriented to a younger audience, but it's actually the opposite. Drugs, sex, cursing and gore is the very foundation of this game. So here you'll travel to a variety of biomes and locations across the cosmos, go up against the nefarious evil boss and his gang of goons, collect loot and meet unique characters. You will navigate dynamic and changing worlds that range from a jungle paradise to a city built inside an asteroid. Complete hunter challenges, meet weird, fun and hilarious characters, collect an array of alien technology, and so on. People on Steam are saying that the game is very fun, but a bit too short for its price. It's only about 8 hours long. Luckily the price now is cut in half, and the game is worth every cent you have. Monster Hunter World. You'll take on the role of a hunter and slay ferocious monsters in a living ecosystem, where you can use the landscape and its diverse inhabitants to get the upper hand. You can hunt alone or in co-op with up to 3 other players, and use materials collected from fallen foes to craft new gear. There are 14 different weapons at your disposal, each with its own unique characteristics and styles of attack. Many hunters acquire proficiency in multiple types, while others prefer to attain mastery of one. Monster Hunter World has 87% of positive reviews on Steam, left by more than 200,000 players. Incredible achievement. Immortals: Fenyx Rising. Because it was an Epic Store exclusive, it has various issues, from missing content to controller problems, and of course it needs you to have an Ubisoft account as well. But in general, this is an amazing title. I bought this game for a full price on the release day, and I can proudly say that this is probably the best game I have played in the year of 2020s. I was expecting nothing from it. It looks childish and colorful, and I don't like any of that. You know, I'm 40 years old, you can't buy me with colors. But I started to feel that something is a sus with my prejudice when I heard the first joke, which was really good, but I'm not gonna spoil it to you. And later I started to realize that the whole game is filled with jokes that I find funny, even in the character creation menu. Fun thing is that during the whole game, gods Zeus and Prometheus are talking in the background about you in the past tense, like everything you do has already happened. You know, when they say,
"And then he saw a terrible monster."
You can be sure that you will see a terrible monster in a second, because it's your story that has already happened, but you don't know how yet, only gods know. In other words, you have to live the story gods are talking about. So let's hope that they don't say anything like,
"And then he put some pineapples into his potato salad."
No. This is not a horror game, so let's hope they will not say that. Although avoid this game if you don't like puzzles. Fenyx Rising is filled with them, but if you liked solving puzzles in Skyrim, for example, you will feel right at home here as well. Tainted Grail Conquest. This is a unique, infinitely replayable, story-driven hybrid between a deck-building roguelite and an RPG game. Here you'll explore the ever-changing maps, fight with deadly enemies, and learn what happened to the cursed island of Avalon. You will find 9 unique hero classes, 460 cards, 340 passive skills, 50 masteries, and a lot of other stuff you don't really care to hear about right now if you never play the game. I can say one thing for sure, it's a dark fantasy game with all the dark benefits of it. Original monsters and beasts, creepy adversaries, and fun gameplay await you here. About 90% of the reviews are positive, so it's safe to say that there is a huge chance that you will like the game if you like the genre. People on Steam are saying that this game is gritty, gnarly, dark, and worth your money even when it's not on sale. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. This is an awesome game. Well, 3 remastered games in one remade with shiny new graphics and details. Although I must admit that the graphics of the first part are still morally old. So the more you play, the more beautiful the game gets. So don't expect miracles, these are all the games with not so fancy overhaul as Crysis franchise. First Mass Effect was released in 2007, so really long time ago. Anyway, if you like science fiction space operas, Mass Effect is one of the best there is. It has a great plot, many twisted turns of events, mysteries on every corner, giant robots, giant spaceships, and giant space stations. Everything is giant here. It's also full of great characters as well, and it has about 90% of positive reviews on Steam. By buying Legendary Edition, you will get all 3 remastered Mass Effect games with all the DLCs and other stuff included and remade in one huge game. Beautiful Desolation. I can honestly say that this is one of the coolest games I have ever played. It may sound silly because this is actually a point-and-click game, but it was made so well I was very impressed during my playthrough, and I still am. They wanted to create something original, something different and never seen before, and I can clearly say that they succeeded. I promise you that story-wise you never played anything like that. The whole game feels like some that surrealistic sci-fi dream of Carl Sagan, with weird characters, weird conversations, and weird atmosphere in general that somehow still makes sense. If you ever read anything by Philip K. Dick, you will understand what I'm talking about. And this game is pure art, but it's hard. It won't guide you by a hand or penis, and puzzles you have to solve are no joke. So prepare to be mentally humiliated and deal with the fact that your IQ is not as high as you think it is. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. This version with upgraded graphics was released 7 years ago, and it still has about 25,000 players in game simultaneously at all times. By player count on Steam it holds 46th place among all the games. That shows how huge and popular this game is. There is no doubt that Skyrim is a masterpiece of open world games, and in my opinion it was decrowned from the throne of the best game in the field only by the third Witcher. By now it is of course a bit outdated, but it still lets you dive into a huge fantasy world and explore incredible places. Skyrim is single player only. There's no bullshit of other players invading your game like in Elden Ring, no other gamers walking around like in Diablo 4 when you just try to accomplish single player campaign. Here you are alone, and everything is done for your personal pleasure. You can become a warrior, mage, assassin, or drug addict. You know, it's up to you. Skyrim is like a great book where you are the main protagonist. Superhero to be fair, but the lore is super deep. Stories, especially for guild quests, are great, and if you never played it, just do it. King Arthur, Knight's Tale. This is a cool hybrid between turn-based games like XCOM and traditional character-centric CRPGs. You'll find diverse battle maps where you will have to position yourself to avoid shield walls and flank your enemies. Also use covers against archers, make use of the terrain, hide in the foliage, and surprise your enemies with your endless wisdom. Knight's Tale is a modern retelling of a classic story with a heavy touch of dark fantasy tropes, a twist on the traditional tales of chivalry, and a bearded wizard with a friendly smile. You will encounter nothing like that here. Knight's Tale is grimdark and really refreshing on your eyes, tired from all these colorful games nowadays. Although keep in mind that all your characters are expendable, and if they die they will stay dead forever, meaning that the game is leaning to the hardcore and may not be very easy for you. Black Mesa. This is actually a Half-Life, just with better graphics and better, you know, everything. Keep in mind that this is not just a simple remaster, this is a quality remake that expands the scope of the original and massively improves its final chapters. The game is made by fans, and it is made so well that it is an owner of overwhelmingly positive reviews. And to be honest, today Black Mesa is the best way to experience Half-Life. No clunky old-school graphics, no compatibility problems, great gameplay, and a really interesting, suspenseful story. To say sure, short half-life is awesome, and Black Mesa may be the greatest way for you to play it. People on Steam are saying that Black Mesa is one of the best remakes ever made, and the game doesn't give you any reason to disagree with these wise words. Deep Sky Derelicts. It is an original combination of turn-based strategy and RPG enriched with tactical card combat and roguelike elements. You'll explore derelict alien ships, fight, loot and upgrade your gear, and all that is presented in a distinctive retro-futuristic comic book aesthetic style. I think that the comic style of the game is absolutely awesome, and as a fan of horror sci-fi comics, I melted in my place like a snowman in between hot boobies. People on Steam are saying that this is a really decent dungeon crawler with incredibly cool combat style. The game will take about 20 hours to beat, so it can be a nice investment into your upcoming leisure time. Desperados 3. You can kill quietly with a knife or take out multiple foes with your revolvers. I especially like the knife part, it somehow feels more personal and, of course, requires more skill. Scenarios Desperados presents are far from cliché, situations are quite original but also familiar with a nice vibe of Wild West. I say vibe because here you will fight not only in small frontier towns, but also in creepy swamps, riverbanks and even in sprawling modern cities. You can choose between non-lethal and deadly attacks, meaning that you can finish the game without killing anyone. I have no idea why you may do that, it's boring. I live my real life without killing anyone. Why should I do the same where I am allowed to snap a neck or two? For example, I'm against hunting for fun, but I play the hunter and I slaughter all the animals in the forest for pure entertainment. You know why? Because they are not real. Duh. Anyway, Desperados 3 is like an old good Commandos game, but modern with amazing visuals and great quality overall. Terminator Resistance. I remember seeing a trailer of this game a few years ago and I was like,
Nah, this probably will be a flop.
And I ignored it on my false prejudice for years. Why false? Well, it has more than 90% of positive reviews on Steam, not too far away from overwhelmingly positive titles, so it's almost a masterpiece. The game is a first-person shooter set during the Future War scenario that was only glimpsed in the first two iconic movies. The machines are destined to lose, but at what cost? So basically here you will run and gun or sneak and hack through Skynet's defenses, level up your skills and explore a post-apocalyptic world for scraps to trade and craft, also interact with other survivors and change their fates. People on Steam are saying that this is the real Terminator 3, as it should have been. It contains an amazing atmosphere, also interesting story and developed characters. Most people are recommending to buy it for the full price without any doubts, but boy oh boy, aren't you lucky today. The Deadly Tower of Monsters. The game treats itself as a 1970s movie. That is not a joke, that is the whole concept of the game. It is filled with classic themes such as the daughter versus tyrant father, the planet full of innocent ape creatures, the dashing space-age liberator, the robot companion, or the tower full of treacherous mutations. As developers say, a timeless classic for all ages. So in general, this is an action-adventure sci-fi comedy game with dynamic narration set in a retro-futuristic environment. You can play it alone or together with your friends or mother-in-law on a shared or split screen. Game has full controller support and, honestly, full support of your poverty, because the price is more than friendly. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Here you'll put on the shoes of a legendary Viking warrior on a quest of glory. Explore England's dark ages as you raid your enemies, grow your settlement and build your political power. Yeah, this is one of the most innovative Assassin's Creed games, and the Nordic theme of Vikings is what fans of the franchise always wanted, although it is far from the top predators of the genre, such as Title or Third Witcher or even Skyrim by the quality of story and characters. Also, no boobs for you here. Viking game without boobs. What is this blasphemy? Marvel's Midnight Suns. You will become the Hunter, the first fully customizable original hero in the Marvel universe. You can personalize your appearance, choose your reactions to situations, and build friendships with other Marvel characters spanning the Avengers, X-Men, Runaways, and so on. Like in many similar games, you will decide who to take with you on missions, which missions to embark on, and a host of other options to make this a unique experience. The game is made by the creators of the legendary XCOM series, so there is no surprise that the game has a very positive review score on Steam and is appreciated by Marvel fans and by turn-based lovers as well. For example, I liked superhero movies, but when they started to make like 7 of them every year, I stopped watching, and I have no idea who half of these superheroes in this game are. Life is Strange Remastered. This is basically the same old good Life is Strange, but more beautiful, with enhanced visuals and vastly improved animation using mocap technology. So this is a story about a girl who discovers that she can rewind time. Yeah, like that. So she and her friends start to investigate the mysterious disappearance of a fellow student. But it so happens that if you change the past, the future is changed as well. And sometimes those changes are not what you want. You know, you can sleep with your own grandfather and become a mother to your mother. That breaks life, universe, and everything 42 times in a row. So if in real life you suddenly will gain this power of rewinding time, do not sleep with anyone. So basically continue as you are now. Ghostlore. I'm not a very huge fan of pixel graphics action RPG games, but the last time I ignored this game I got several comments about it. People were praising the game and I promised to include it into my next video about action RPG games, which is now. So here you'll fight supernatural monsters from Southeast Asian folklore. As developers say, it is inspired by timeless classic action RPGs such as Diablo 2 and Titan Quest. Ghostlore features detailed item and character customization systems, procedurally generated maps and 90s retro graphics. So here you'll have to slay over 40 different kinds of enemies, each with their skills and tactics. Also, Ghostlore allows you to mix and match abilities from 3 out of 6 character classes to create your own unique hero. People are saying that the game is like classic Diablo but Asian, and that is cool, something really refreshing. SpellForce 3 Soul Harvest. This game, just like Fallen God, is a standalone episode of SpellForce 3, meaning that you don't have to own the base game or even know the story very well. Here you are plunged in a war on many fronts. While some evil threatens to tear apart the Dwarven realm, an enigmatic cult of dark elves harvests the souls of people for reasons unknown. That is not cool, you have to stop it. You know, souls are like currency you can use to pay the devil for nice things, so all this soul harvesting stuff is like a bank robbery in my eyes. The game itself is a hybrid between RPG and RTS, meaning that you will have your heroes with various options and combinations on a skill tree and can amass your army like in any strategy game as well. The difference from 3rd Warcraft, for example, is that your heroes here are more like actual RPG heroes than just better units with more powerful skills. The story will take about 20 hours of your time, but if you want you can create your own maps as well. UBOAT. This is a simulator of a submarine from the Second World War era, yet it is different from other more action-oriented games. UBOAT is a survival sandbox with crew management mechanics, while its primary theme is life of German sailors. The boat is their home, but it can become their grave at any time. The game is influenced by Fallout Shelter, XCOM and also the movie Das Boot. They even use the same decals for the submarine as seen in the movie. So here you'll have to control the crew in order to control your boat. You will look after their mental and physical health, make sure the sailors won't become angry or tired. If their spirit is low, there is a chance of whining, bad morale and even a skirmish. So as real Germans back then would say,
yeah, so take care of them and make Hitler proud, ja, by sinking those ships of capitalist America, ja, Bier mit Sauerkraut, ja, wunderbar.
Into the Breach. This simple-looking game is actually an officially recognized masterpiece. It has won Best Strategy Game title at the Game Awards. It was announced as a Game of the Year by PC Gamer, and on Steam it has above 90% of positive reviews left by thousands of people. So here the remnants of human civilization are threatened by enormous creatures breeding beneath the earth, and all hope is in your hands. You must control powerful mechs from the future to hold off this alien threat, and each attempt to save the world presents a new randomly generated challenge. Basically, the game throws a different strategic puzzle at you every time and you have to solve it, and that is somehow really fun to do. Just make sure you like both puzzles and strategy games, because it is quite challenging, and if your brain is smooth, you may want to play some other game instead. Don't ask why I know this. Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter. This is an adventure with unique gameplay that blends investigation, action and exploration. It will test the limits of your nerves and intelligence. Yeah, this game is not for the faint of heart. The puzzles can be devilishly difficult, and the plot is full of twists and turns that will keep you guessing until the very end. You'll have to track down evil in the darkest corners of London while playing as the great detective and untangle a web of intrigue leading to the final stunning revelation about the evil that lurks in the city. Is it real evil or is it just Scooby-Doo level evil? I don't know. Well, I do, but this is not a channel of spoilers. This is a channel of games and potato salad, approved by a sister. BPM, bullets per minute. This is a wet dream of every Doom or every fast-paced first-person shooter fan. Above 90% of positive reviews on Steam won't let me lie. This game will entertain you for hours. To be exact, for about 4 hours. It's not a very long game, but as you always say to your imaginary girlfriend,
It's not the length, it's the quality, right?
so here all your actions and the actions of your enemies are tied to the beat of the music. Your enemies here will perform a dance-like sequence of attacks to an epic rock opera. Here you will shoot, jump and dodge to the beat of the battling hordes of enemies, fight powerful bosses, choose from 10 different characters with unique strengths and weaknesses, and explore randomly generated dungeons. So play this game if you like Doom, rock and fast-paced action, and avoid it if you are soft and squishy. It's not a game for squishy people. Cyberpunk 2077. Finally, Cyberpunk 2077 has become a great game. Recent reviews on Steam are always above 90%, and the main score climbed to the very positive tier. After many years in mixed and later in mostly positive category, this is an achievement of really hard work and dedication. CD Projekt Red, by releasing an undercooked game, has made probably the biggest mistake of their lives, but they are slowly climbing up. Although the stock value of the company is still in ruins. After the flop of the game, CD Projekt Red lost about a third of company's value, and so far nothing has changed despite the amazing comeback of Cyberpunk. And the game itself is a wet dream of anyone who likes single-player RPG games, but it also has some really annoying flaws as well. Despite being set in a GTA-like world, here you cannot fly. That is sad. Anyway, the campaign is more than awesome. 11 cold beers out of 10. Lost in Random. This is a gothic fairy tale inspired action adventure where every citizen's fate is determined by a roll of the dice. That may sound as a very random thing, and believe you me, it is, but around 90% of positive reviews are here for a reason. So you will step into a beautiful and haunted wonderland where you must venture through the 6 twisted realms of random, each with its own maddening set of rules. Help its unpredictable inhabitants, save your sister, well, or mine, I don't mind, and discover a twisted tale in the process. Basically, if you enjoy Tim Burton's creations, this game may be a real spoon of potato salad for you, because it definitely draws inspiration from Burton's works. The game has an interesting story with motivational moments you can relate to, nice humor but a bit clunky combat, and it's really short. Also, people on Steam are warning players that if you complete a chapter, you can't go back to it ever again. So if you are hunting for achievements, do it in the first try. Synergy. In this visually beautiful city builder, your goal is to build a town to help your citizens prosper. You will need to explore, analyze and experiment with new things, because the well-being of your citizens is the main objective. You don't want to be a moron dictator, we have plenty of those in real life. Here you will need a deep understanding of the environment to help them adapt and thrive. Newly acquired knowledge will provide you with an essential guide to obtaining resources, ensuring the safety of your people and optimizing your town. This quest for knowledge will also provide you access to several new buildings, from extraction structures to social spaces, from harvesting points to places of culture. People on Steam are saying that the art style is breathtaking. The game is charming and has very interesting features never seen in similar games. The review score is very positive, so most likely if you try the game, you will have fun. Dragon Age Inquisition. Let's start with the fact that it wasn't completely oriented to the fans of the Dragon Age franchise and tried to be appealing to a wider audience. That they definitely achieved. Me and my wife, we played the game and we liked it. It was our first experience in the world of Dragon Age and we had tons of fun. My wife even completed it twice. The game was designed to be played using a pause function, but I can't remember ever doing that. I played it in real time all the time and I had fun. Maybe on some boss I pre-planned some moves, but that was about it. It is definitely not a game for a hardcore Dungeons & Dragons fan, more like a nice fantasy title for the masses. It is beautiful, has a nice story and you can own a castle. In my opinion, 8 cold beers out of 10. Just be careful, with it you must install EA Launcher. That is never cool. Teardown. This sandbox game features a fully destructible and interactive environment. Here you can plan the perfect heist using creative problem solving, brute force and everything in between. Tear down walls with explosives or vehicles to create shortcuts, stack objects, build structures or use floating stuff to your advantage. Run, drive, jump, slingshot, here you can do whatever you need to achieve your goal. Avoid robots or steal whatever your client asks for, but make sure not to get caught. Game has not only sandbox mode but also a serious campaign where you start accepting work from more or less shady persons. This is a story of a murky soup of revenge, betrayal and insurance fraud. Yeah, that kind of depth in, as it seems, destructible environment engine is absolutely wild. You soon find yourself stealing cars, demolishing buildings, blowing up safes, avoiding trigger-happy robots and many more. The game has above 90% positive review score and is more than worthy of your attention. Squad. This is a large-scale multiplayer first-person shooter emphasizing combat realism, true communication and team play. A wide selection of realistic faction-specific weaponry and vehicles allow you to build your own loadouts that best suit your preferred tactics. Here you'll find 10 factions, 23 maps, vehicle-based combined arms gameplay and player-constructed bases. People on Steam are saying that 50% of the time it's a running sim, the other 50% is pretty fun. And yeah, the maps are pretty huge and running is what you do here. Although the best thing about this game is Star Wars: The Galactic Contention mod, which transforms the game into, a Star Wars game with Star Wars guns. That is always awesome. The Ascent. This is a solo and co-op action RPG set in a distant cyberpunk world. You will be exploring a corporate-run metropolis stretching high into the sky and filled with creatures from all over the galaxy. If you like Star Wars, Firefly or Cyberpunk 2077, it's a perfect setting for your adventures. Here you play as a worker enslaved by the company that owns your ass and everyone else in your district as well. They are the ultimate ass holders. But one day you are suddenly caught in a vortex of catastrophic events, so you must take up arms and embark on a new mission to find out what started it all. People on Steam are saying that the game is really beautiful and fun, but kinda riddled with bugs. Although not everyone experiences these problems, the game has a bit less than 80% of positive reviews. For some it is even the best game they have ever played. I think that is an overstretch, a real overstretch, but kinda encouraging as well. Orrstead. This is a game nobody knows, and because of that I decided to include it in this list. So here, unlike in other colony games, you will manage resources and peacefully grow a city without punishing failure mechanics. So if you are miserable with combat and survival games, this is the game you should play. If you are programmed to lose, choose a scenario where loss is impossible. That may sound like the wisdom of Confucius, but actually this is my wisdom after a couple of beers. Anyway, Orrstead borrows mechanics from games like Cookie Clicker, where each building has exponentially increasing costs. You will have to overcome these costs by unlocking new technologies, new production chains, synergies, and in general mechanical depth. This is a fun but tiny game, so enjoy it, but don't expect miracles. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. Here you will take on a role of Peter Parker, who is fighting big crime and iconic villains in New York City. At the same time, he is struggling to balance his chaotic personal life and career, while the fate of the town rests upon his shoulders. Yeah, this Spider-Man has some experience, he's not a newbie by no means. After 8 years behind the mask, Peter Parker is a crime-fighting master, so here you will feel the full power of a more experienced Spider-Man, with improvisational combat, dynamic acrobatics, fluid urban traveling mechanics and environmental interactions. You'll swing through vibrant neighborhoods and catch great views of iconic Marvel and Manhattan landmarks. Also, you will have to use the environment around you to defeat murderous villains. And you don't want any murders in your town. Well, except those who die in the process of you fighting the villain. Those are acceptable losses, and nobody will ever miss those people. Everyone knows that. The game has an overwhelmingly positive review score and is a true gem for every Spider-Man fan. Deadlink. This is a cyberpunk first-person shooter with roguelite elements. You are an elite operative recruited for the experimental Deadlink project. So here you'll pilot an autonomous combat shell and fight your way through cramped slums, twisted labs and grimy warehouses to topple the most powerful corporations. You'll find a deadly and diverse arsenal of weapons, upgrade your skills and tech, devastate destructible environments and bankrupt the evil corporations. By killing all their employees, I guess. Yeah, you can't make millions of dirty money if everyone who works for you is dead. The logic is unbeatable, unlike your enemies. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that you will play this game just because of the story, the plot and love-hate relations between simple folk and the evil rich. That small part of never-ending carnage is just a nice addition, not important. Pumpkin Jack. With more than 90% of positive review score on Steam, this hack-and-slash adventure platformer should grab your attention by its balls.
Wait, what?
Shut up. Here you'll travel across dangerous landscapes in levels featuring alluring atmospheres, each crafted with vibrant color palettes and cool lighting effects. Here you must master the art of combo attacks, learn dodging and timing to survive dynamic real-time battles. You will unlock powerful weapons and solve puzzles that focus on physics. Use your flaming head to burn books, hammer some moles, and create pathways for magic spheres as each level introduces new challenges. You'll also find helpful companions to assist you on your journey, including an owl to guide you along, and a crow itching to assist you with long-range attacks. This game is meant for pure entertainment. Great visuals, interesting storyline, and dynamic battles await you here. Also, the humor is quite nice as well. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. The game was released in 2012, but 10 years later it was remastered and sold, you know the drill, as a new game with a price of a new game. Everyone was raging, but now it's not a problem anymore. The game itself is designed by the Elder Scrolls Oblivion lead designer Ken Rolston and set in a world with a lore of 10,000 years of fiction created by New York Times bestselling author R.A. Salvatore, or however his name is pronounced. I don't know him, but he is obviously very good. So this is a huge open world game, although be warned that some players sometimes encounter game-breaking bugs. I literally read that in a comment that was written a few months ago. It's not old news or something, keeping the age of the game in mind. Anyway, the game itself is really good, so you may want to risk it. Achilles: Legends Untold. Here you will take control of a man with a really weak heel but with very strong everything else. The journey will take you to many different corners of mythological lands, where you will obtain powerful artifacts that will aid you in your quest. The game has a cool AI system that introduces innovative enemy behavior. Opponents have unscripted interactions with each other and are capable of coordinated attacks. Developers are also saying that sometimes your enemies are even taking advantage of their surroundings. Well, honestly, that should be mandatory in every modern game. If your adversary is ignoring surroundings, that is so old school. I think even pigs in Duke Nukem 3D could hide behind the walls, and the game was released in the past millennium. So Achilles: Legends Untold is Souls-like, but not as hard as actual Souls games. Various Diablo-like action RPG lovers could play it as well. But of course, don't expect Diablo-like battles. Here every battle is important. Well, at least they are made this way. If you played, for example, Sands of Aura, you may realize what I have in mind. It is a mix of genres, but I think it's really worth your attention. Mafia Definitive Edition. Remastered and re-released in 2020, the game is a proud owner of a very positive reviews on Steam. He'll take on the role of a mafioso in 1930s city of Lost Haven. It's a fictional place, but it's inspired by the city of Chicago. The town got hit hard by the Great Depression, and the advent of Prohibition in America means lucrative business opportunities for various mobsters. And let's be fair, for some shady old ladies as well who were brewing their moonshines deep in the cellars. By the way, did you know that you have to pour out the first cups of moonshine you make because it's poison? If you drink it, you will die or at least go blind. I've heard that from some master brewer a long time ago, but I can't remember the details. Anyway, as I've said many times before, Prohibition in my eyes is a crime against humanity, so those gangsters are just folk struggling to survive in this authoritarian environment. A Plague Tale: Innocence. Here you'll take control of young Amisha and her little brother Hugo in a journey through the darkest hours of history. Haunted by Inquisition soldiers and surrounded by unstoppable swarms of rats, you will struggle to survive against overwhelming odds. Dead, rotten bodies lay everywhere, and rats, oh, those creatures can and will eat anyone alive who does not carry a light source. As I always say, this is a bit unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
You know, rats are no vampires. I used to own one, it liked bathing in the sun rays.
Well, what if those are vampire rats?
I never actually thought about that. Anyway, keep in mind that the atmosphere here is grim and dark, so if you are a sensitive person, it may prove a challenge to play. Game tend to pull the ropes of emotion, and if you let your guard down and allow it to do its dark job, it will control you like a puppet. But in general, all that darkness is cool and original, keeping in mind all those airy-fairy unicorn games people are used to play these days. Grounded. one of the smallest open-world games. You can only freely move around in your yard of several square meters. The trick is that the game follows the best traditions of famous movie
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
And here you are literally shrunk to the size of an ant. So actually this world is vast, beautiful and dangerous place. You know, almost every predator is bigger than you. Probably a dog peeing on some flower can literally drown you in a way that you wouldn't want to be carved on your tombstone. So here we'll explore, build and survive together in this first-person multiplayer survival adventure. So can you thrive alongside the hordes of giant insects fighting to survive the perils of the backyard? Well, alone probably not, but if you have some friends or a loving mother-in-law, you can play the game together and have lots of fun. The rating on Steam hovers around 90%, and that is always a sign of a good game. Festival Tycoon. So this is a micromanagement game about building music festivals. Here you will grow your fest from a backyard bonanza into an unmissable global event. Work with bands and with various brands to build an excellent reputation and rake in the big bucks. Pick from a wide catalog of buildings and decorations to design a fest ground that is practical as well as pretty. Craft around a theme, use and create custom maps, load local music and earn nice amounts of money. Well, if I play this game, I will definitely create a Potato Salad Fest here, and it will have awesome bands such as Tenacious D, Rammstein and Foo Fighters. Although for copyright reasons they will probably be named Tenacious A, Rammstein and Foo Fighters. Anyway, with career mode, sandbox mode and even an extreme mode there is plenty of ways to play. People on Steam are saying that the game is easy to learn and fun to play for a few hours, but you will probably get bored rather quickly, so the sale is the perfect time to obtain it. Hand of Fate 2. This is a dungeon crawler set in a dark fantasy world. Here you'll try to master a living board game, where every stage of the adventure is drawn from a deck of legendary encounters chosen by you. So choose wisely your opponent. The enigmatic dealer will try to make you feel helpless and pathetic. People on Steam are saying that the combat is a bit clunky, but the atmosphere, art style and the narration of the game makes Hand of Fate really enjoyable and fun. Although keep in mind that the game is kinda difficult, also heavily based on luck. You know, it's a card game after all. And that may be frustrating if you have an unlucky day when everything falls apart. So before playing, throw a coin into the air 3 times and try to guess heads or tails. If you'll be correct at least 2 times, play the game. Luck is with you today.
And what if this was the last drop of luck? What if guessing heads or tails right was the luckiest thing that happened today?
Well, in this instance, I'll think you'll know that you are screwed right away. Game is not forgiving. Far Cry 6. The game will take you on a journey to Yara, a fictional tropical country inspired by Cuba. Here, ruthless dictator Anton Castillo is in charge. His life's goal is to rebuild the country and bring it back to its glory 50 years ago, when the dictator was his father, no matter what sacrifices he has to make to the people. Yeah, he's willing to sacrifice you for the greater good and feel bad about it. And you play as a warrior of the local resistance movement, trying to remove Castillo from power through both guerrilla warfare and bloody protests in the streets. So as you fight this evil man, be sure that you will never get yourself into a situation where you have to be at his mercy.
Are you prepared to die? I was acting. Or was I?
Yeah, because when you see Giancarlo Esposito as a bad guy, you know that he will do anything to achieve his goal. So fighting a boss like that is a serious business that will not let you make any mistakes. They are billions. It's impossible not to love the visuals of the game. Such nice details are usually not present in the games where you look at things from afar. So it's a strategy game set in a distant future about building and managing human colonies after a zombie apocalypse destroyed almost all of humankind. Now there are only a few humans left alive that must struggle to survive under the threat of the infection. Billions of zombies roam around the world in massive swarms seeking the last living human colonies. So you must build a town and protect it from zombies. This is a simple and genius idea. Well, it's surely not new. Similar missions of building and defending your base against swarms of enemies were implemented even in the first StarCraft in 1998. I'm not saying that you will enjoy this game for a long time, but in a short period it is a great vaccine against boredom. Just don't let that single zombie slip in. 1 zombie is all it takes for your city to burn. Be careful. They are billions, but you are the last of us. Predator Hunting Grounds. An example of a very popular genre now, a symmetrical shooter that pits humans against Predator. If you played or at least know what Dead by Daylight game is all about, Predator Hunting Grounds is kinda the same. You will have to complete challenging missions as a part of a 4-person team to escape, and as a Predator you will have to hunt them all down. Although keep in mind that the game can feel a bit unbalanced, it tends to put players of different skill levels in one match. So Predator Hunting Grounds is obviously best enjoyed in the group of friends, or, you know, in a group of strangers that decided to play together by meeting each other in some Discord group. The review score is around 80% and the price is kinda nice. But remember, if you don't like it, don't go over 2 hours of gameplay time and you can refund it. And don't leave it running in menu screen, that counts as well. Elden Ring. Open world where you will be doing a lot of slashing, bashing and rolling around. Game is Souls-like, if I can say that about almost a sequel to the actual Dark Souls, and themed around dark fantasy. It has the ability for you to create your own custom characters instead of playing a fixed protagonist. So you can create a character that you may want to immersively merge in with, or a character that you wish to be, or to bang. Honestly, I don't like Dark Souls because I suck as a gamer, but I bought the Elden Ring and I played for hours and hours. I died a lot, and the amount of deaths finally filled my cup of patience and I abandoned it. Now I'm really thinking that I must go back and show all these creepy creatures who the real boss is. Probably not me, but I will try to perform an exorcism session on my noobness, just as my long-dead grandmother usually yelled at me.
I
will not translate that. Also, if you like me suck at these difficult games, keep in mind that on PC version you can download some mods that can adjust the difficulty to your needs.
And now, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and I'll see you next time.